I used to exist in 1,000 photographs, yet I couldn't find myself in a single one. My life was a gallery where I was both the exhibit and the curator. Every sunset, every cup of coffee, every smile, none of it was lived. It was documented, packaged, put up for auction, sold for the currency of external approval. I was the architect of my digital self, and the facade was flawless. But behind it was an emptiness, echoing like a silent theater after the show. And then I disappeared. I simply erased my reflection from every mirror. And the most common question I got, whispered when we met, wasn't, "How are you?" but "Why?" Why would someone who screamed, "Look at me," so loudly, suddenly fall silent? People thought I was broken, that it was depression, failure, a crisis. They saw weakness in my silence, but they didn't understand. My silence wasn't emptiness, it was control. It was the first decision in years made for no one else's applause. It was the act of reclaiming ownership of my own life. I realized that every time I hit post, I was giving a piece of myself away to be judged. My joy became content. My pain became drama for an audience. My thoughts became a topic for debate. I was no longer willing to rent out my own life. The first few weeks were torture, a genuine withdrawal. I'd see something beautiful and my hand would instinctively reach for my pocket. I'd feel a pang of loneliness, and my fingers would search for the app icon to numb it with the noise of others. It was a reflex, conditioned by years of dopamine rewards. I asked myself the one question that changed everything. Can I live this moment in a way that its value is for me and me alone? Could I witness the most beautiful sunset of my life and carry it with me, in my memory, not in my phone's gallery? This was my personal Everest. And so I began to climb. And then, strange things began to happen. Food tasted better because I wasn't trying to photograph it. Conversations became deeper because I wasn't waiting for a moment to check notifications. I started to see the world in high definition, the cracks in the pavement, the hues of the sky, the pauses in people's speech. I stopped being a reflection. I became the source of the light. I discovered which friends would text me just because, with no story to prompt them. I learned whose love didn't need a public announcement. The connections that survived the silence were forged in steel. Psychologists call it an internal locus of control, a complex term for a simple truth. Your happiness no longer depends on applause. You become the stage, the audience, and the critic, all in one. And that wholeness is priceless. You no longer fear being misunderstood because you don't need to be understood by everyone. You no longer fear judgment because the only judge that matters is within. So the next time you see someone who has vanished from your feed, don't pity them. Perhaps they aren't lost. Perhaps, for the first time, they are found. He simply traded a wide audience for a deep connection, the noise of approval for the silence of understanding. He understood the core truth of the digital age. Being unseen is not the same as being insignificant. It's the space where you stop being created by others and finally begin to exist for yourself. This isn't a retreat, it's a return. Home. To yourself.